Hello again, everybody. Welcome to the OCVarsity Football Predictions Show program thing. I'm Steve Fry here with Dan Albano. Dan, I'm looking at the standings, and in terms of our picks, I'm ahead of you, 61. Oh, wait. No, you're ahead of me, 61-17. 61 wins, 17 mistakes.
Okay.
I got 58 correct and 20 mistakes, so congratulations.
So you're about down three in the win column?
Good math skills there, Dan.
Okay.
61 minus 58, 3. Good job.
Okay.
Let's get right to it.
What's my magic number? We have a long ways to go.
452.
We have a long ways to go, don't we?
El Dorado versus Canyon. This is the final non-league game for both of these Century Conference teams. El Dorado's got 3 wins, as many as they had last year. I think they only had 1 like the year before that, so good job for the Golden Hawks.
Yes.
Canyon's coming off a pretty good win over El Medina at 17-14. Cole Niquette rushed for 118 yards and a couple touchdowns. El Dorado's getting better. I can kind of see them winning this game, but I'm still going to go with the Comanches, Canyon.
I'm going Comanches.
Yeah.
I am looking longer and harder at El Dorado. I think they are improved. I talked to Coach Ogus this week. You know, and the big thing in this game is I wonder what the preparation level is for Canyon with the fires that have been going on this week. I don't believe they practice on Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah.
I think they're practicing today on Wednesday. But Coach Ogus said that Comanches found their identity last week when they had 50 carries for 300 yards in that El Medina game.
Yeah,
50 carries. They only threw it 6 times. I'm going Comanches.
Right. Okay, well, let's hop over to the Empire League. Cyprus, a surprise to me, and I think you too.
Yeah.
Loser to Valencia last week. They got to play Pacifica. Pacifica's 6-0. You know, we got to rank number 17 in the county. I don't know if that's too low or not. But, you know, we've talked a lot about...
Some people think so, right?
Yeah, everybody at Pacifica does. But, you know, they've got Ben Jefferson, who's, you know, going to be probably the league player of the year unless Testa wins it, and then be Casey Carr. I really like the way they're playing. Their average margin of victory is 36 points for Pacifica. I don't see them beating Cyprus by 36, but I see Pacifica getting the win and going to 7-0. What you say, sir?
I'm picking the Mariners.
Right.
I covered Cyprus last week against Valencia, and once the Centurions got their offense going, they were better, especially second half, especially late in the fourth quarter, because Dominic Thompson is a spectacular wide receiver.
Yeah.
He is athletic. He can go up and get it, and they have other wide receivers. They've got I think they have a good-looking kid, a Western transfer that's back. They have plenty of receivers, and Ashcroft can run it. They didn't have much of a ground game, so they're a quick strike. If they get on a roll, they're dangerous, but if they could have some trouble sustaining things at times. But I worry about their defense. They were out physicaled by Valencia, and I think Pacifica is more physical than Valencia. So I think the Mariners roll pretty good in this game.
All right, on to our next game. And I'm a little out of order here, babes. All right, let's jump over to the Trinity League for the fun of it. J. Sarah against Orange Lutheran. You were at J. Sarah Servite last week, I think. Al Fisher went off, just ran the heck out of it. Orange Lutheran didn't run the ball. They gave up on the run game pretty early against Bosco.
Yeah, they don't really have much of a ground attack.
Yeah, and you know what? And I think that J. Sarah is going to have similar success running against Orange Lutheran. J. Sarah wins that game.
I'm also picking J. Sarah, and I was picking them before. They were my pick. Before I knew the impact. We all knew the impact of the fires, but Orange Lutheran's another team that's been impacted this week by the fires. They didn't practice Monday or Tuesday, and I haven't had a chance to check in with this afternoon, but I kind of think they're practicing this afternoon, because the other districts are getting going. But I think J. Sarah is very talented, penalty prone for sure, but I think they have a little bit more physicality on the offense and defensive lines, and they have that running attack that they can lean on heavily, and they still have Matt Robinson. And they're physical at linebacker and defensive line, new guys in the secondary. But I think Orange Lutheran's offense is very skilled, and receiver obviously with Ryan Helinski. So probably a high scoring game, but I got J. Sarah winning.
Santa Ana against Ocean View. This is a huge game in that awful fun Golden West League.
Sure is.
Yeah, a tough one to pick, wasn't it?
It was.
I went with
Ocean View. Oh, the Seahawks are killing us. They're killing me, making me do a lot of work. They are right.
The whole league is going to be like that.
I know.
It's just awesome. I went with the Saint, Sammy Saint, in that game. I just thought that Damian Macias was really good in that game, and he did a lot of things, ran for touchdowns, threw for a touchdown, and also had an INT in the end zone late in the game to win it. So I like Santa Ana. I just sort of like their grit.
Yeah, they escaped last week, right? They had that late interception and helped them pull off that victory against. Was that against Santa Ana? Was that against Westminster?
Yep.
Okay. But going with the theme of the Golden West League, I gotta expect that some of these teams start to knock off each other, and this is where we'll disagree. So I think Ocean View is good enough. They're gonna beat somebody pretty good, and I think this is the week. They're coming off their first. Well, they're coming off a pretty significant, decisive loss. Yeah, they lost a close one to Catella, and then they were pretty. They got the close win against Uni, and then they had a tough time last week against Segerstrom coming. And so I think Ocean View corrects some things, and they lead to some of the turbulence that I think the Golden West League's gonna see, and the Seahawks are gonna provide that upset of the week this week.
Also in the Golden West League, Orange against Westminster. We just talked about the Westminster loss. Orange won pretty big over Loera, 61-13. That quarterback, Jason Wilkinson's kind of a playmaker guy for them. It seemed like Orange just had a little run of really good QBs over there that are in that style. I like Orange in this game. It's going to be kind of close, I think, Dan, but I like those Panthers to go to 7-0 and 2-0 league.
Yeah, we agree on this game. Again, Orange was another team. I wonder how they're going to do with the fire situation where they didn't get to practice Monday or Tuesday. I assume Westminster. I don't know. I don't know what their situation was. They might have been a little bit better, but I know teams as far as Long Beach didn't practice as far as Long Beach. But I think Orange is very focused this year. They're very highly motivated. They thought they missed chances last year to really break through. They want what Santa Ana had last year. They want to win the Golden West League. They want to try to win a CIF title, and they're rolling pretty good. And last year, Westminster edged out Orange by about a touchdown, and I think Panthers are going to be motivated to flip that this year. But I think Westminster's a pretty good team. They're pretty solid, but I think Orange gets the win.
I think you had this quote from Foothill coach Doug Case talked about missing practice and things like that. Said something like, "Hey, we've been practicing for 10 weeks in a row. What's 2 days going to be?" Just like so funny. I thought that was great.
Yeah.
Tesoro versus San Clemente. This is a South Coast League game.
Right.
Tesoro, the best, maybe the best sub 500 team running around. San Clemente 6-0, 1-0 in league. Interesting game for me. I really like San Clemente. Those defensive guys, Riley Croft, Jack Shippey, pretty good. I see that, Peterson's really good quarterback, Tesoro, but I really like that defense that San Clemente's got.
Yeah, I like San Clemente in this game too. They're coming off a bye. They're playing at home.
Yeah,
and you don't know
0-0 in league, not 1-0. I got that wrong. Yeah.
And you don't know what Tesoro team's going to show up. They've been, depends on the week on the Titans. Still trying to find consistency. But I think this one sets up well for San Clemente.
I think the same Tesoro team shows up. I just think they're playing really good teams. I think when they've lost to really good teams,
But when they
lost to Mission Viejo big last week, right?
Yeah, and they lost to La Habra big, and that's why I say,
I gotcha.
They're, some of their scores have been,
but those are two really good teams, man.
Yeah, true.
Skipping back over to the Trinity League, Santa Margarita versus Servite. Servite, we talked about losing to Jay Serra last week. Santa Margarita scored 35 points on Mater Dei. That's pretty good.
That is good.
However,
I agree with you on that.
They gave up 70.
Yeah, and I guess 42 in the second quarter alone. But I bet you Mater Dei does that to some other teams this year.
Yes, I think so too. I tell you what. But I like Margarita in this game, Dan. I like the way they run the ball. Sarah had trouble with Al Fisher running the ball over them for Jay Serra. Chad Magyar is really good running back for Santa Margarita, and I think that Magyar is going to have a pretty big game and might be the difference maker for Santa Margarita to win over Servite.
Yeah. I'm picking Santa Margarita too because I think it just sets up so well for what they like to do. They're physical. They have physical running back in Magyar. They have physical linemen, and that's it's a lot what Jay Serra did to Servite last week. The only thing I start to think about the Friars is that last week they tasted defeat for the first time. That was their first loss. A lot of teams they get that first loss and they can make immediate improvements.
Right.
They gave up 460 yards rushing
Yeah.
last week. Can they get better in 1 week and make the corrections that they're going to need? And then the other factor I think that's going to influence this game is special teams. At the Cerritos College, kind of a big field, or college stadium. And I think the Santa Margarita special teams could play a factor in this game as well.
That guy Brady can kick it a little, huh?
And then, if they can get Santa Margarita needs to get Malone Matele going on returns,
Field position stuff,
field
yeah.
position, the touchbacks, and Servite wasn't that great on the kickoff coverage last week either. They almost Eli Jefferson almost took the opening kickoff to the house. So Servite's got some things to clean up. I won't be shocked if they win, but the Eagles are my pick.
Freeway League time. Sunny Hills against Fullerton.
Tough game.
Sunny Hills lost last week.
Yep.
To La Habra. Alex Young, still the leading rusher in OC, was averaging 304 yards a game going into that game.
Yeah.
He only got 51 against La Habra. La Habra will do that to dudes.
Right.
I don't see Fullerton holding Alex Young to 51 yards, but I see Fullerton holding him to enough, controlling him enough to where Fullerton gets the W.
Wow. Yeah, this is a tough game for me to pick.
What do you mean?
Because I'm going with Sunny Hills. I'm going with Sunny Hills. They were my preseason pick to get second in the league. I'm sticking with them. They're coming off their first loss as well.
Yeah.
Played a dynamite team. I think that will get them ready for the physicalness, the speed, the intensity, and they're going to have to bring it because I think Fullerton's going to be so excited to play their first league game in their refurbished stadium. They've won 3 in a row. The OCVarsity gave them some love this week and said the progress they're making. They, and Dylan Nicholson's ran for 200 yards. They got their own good running back, but I think Sunny Hills is gonna get back to playing the Lancer ball, and I think Jung's gonna have a good game.
Seaview League, Laguna Hills versus Dana Hills.
I can't believe you picked this game, but this is a tough one to pick, Fryer.
That's why I picked it, pal.
I know, man. You
trying to make you work, bro.
I know.
All right. I love it. I like Laguna Hills. I mean,
OC.
Dana Hills, has, they've got a couple wins in their belt, under their belt, which are good. Santa Monica and Los Amigos, but both those teams are 1-5.
Yeah.
I think Laguna Hills has played a little bit better schedule and a little more ready for this night. So I went with the Hawks of Laguna Hills.
I'm going with Laguna Hills. I thought about, hey, how are they feeling better? They just played Capo, but are they physically feeling better? They had the virus. They missed the game. They had a bunch of kids sick. Then they had to play Capo, who's one of the best teams in Orange County.
Rolled them.
But I think it's a similar thing where, I think those games help you if you get out of it healthy, if they're getting healthy physically. This is a little interesting game. Dana Hills coming off the bye as well. So they've had a long time to prepare, and Dana Hills is at home. But I'm still going with Laguna Hills Hawks.
Have we forgotten a game, Dan?
Absolutely. I think we've forgotten 2 games, Mr. Fryer. Maybe the 2 best games, arguably, maybe. I mean, we got definitely the game of the year.
Capistrano Valley, El Toro. Let's
Yeah.
talk about that one. 2 great quarterbacks. This one, Nathan Manning over there at Capistrano Valley, Cooper Jones at El Toro. I was tempted to go with El Toro in this one. I've seen them play; they're pretty good. But I like Capistrano Valley quite a bit because I think offensive line wise and defensive wise, Capo's got the edge. So I went with the Cougars of CV.
I was down at Capo Valley Land earlier this week, and check out my story on Nathan Manning, the fine junior quarterback. But it's a great quarterback matchup. Nathan Manning Jr. against Cooper Jones, the senior. Both of those guys have thrown for over 20 touchdowns, approaching 2,000 yards. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, but a somewhat high-scoring game because Capo's defense has allowed on average less than 9 points a game. So they have the better D. Though I checked in with Bill Coonerty today, former Capo coach, longtime South County Cox Communications
Smart guy.
Color commentator, and he said, El Toro's coach Mayrol is a fine defensive coach. He's going to have his teams ready. So then I checked the defensive stats, and lo and behold, El Toro's got 10 interceptions this year already. Pretty good number for this time of year.
So you're picking El Toro?
But I'm picking, and then the game's at El Toro, so I think that's going to make it tough for the Cougars. But they're going to go to 8-0. It's one of their best starts in school history.
Yeah, that's great. It's good to see that.
Ernie Boucher,
Coach of the Year potential
Coach of the Year. Great staff.
Down at El Camino College, where I'll be Friday night, we've got Mater Dei playing St. John Bosco. They played each other twice last year,
Right.
as we remember. Mater Dei
Yep.
won the Trinity League matchup. Bosco decided to run between the tackles in the championship game, the Division
did.
I championship
Behind
game.
Wyatt
won.
Davis.
Yeah, the big athlete of the year sort of guy out at the tackle. I saw Bosco play Orange
Yeah,
Lutheran.
right.
Bosco did a couple funky things where they got some pass interference penalties that kept Orange Lutheran drives going. A couple personal fouls that kept Orange Lutheran drives going. Things like that. You can do that against some teams and get away with it. Can't do it against Mater Dei. Can't give Mater Dei extra downs, extra first downs. Give them extra 15 yards. Can't do that against the Monarchs. And also I think Mater Dei's receiver core, as good as that defensive backfield was when I saw Bosco play with Lutheran last week, I think those guys are a handful. And Mater Dei runs the football. That running game has really given Mater Dei something of an edge this year. I go with the Monarchs to win this football game.
Yeah, good point on the running game. Mater Dei is running it more this year than they have last year.
Oh my gosh.
They've got Jacoby Harper. They got Chris Street going pretty good.
Yeah.
So they're running it a little bit more. Mater Dei's got some of their own issues too, though. Remember I said last week they had no issues, but then they gave up 35 points to Santa Margarita.
Right.
Where was the Monarchs' defense? St. John Bosco hasn't given up 35 points this year. I can tell you that. They have the best defense in the Trinity League. And Mater Dei also had its share of penalties. I think they had 10 penalties for well over 100 yards last week. So Mater Dei does have issues coming in this game. They're going to have to play better. But I'm picking the Monarchs to win this game. I mean, I think it's Mater Dei's year, but we'll see how well they play in the victory. If that defense steps up, which I think they do. Coach Rollinson was already challenging him after the game in Zach Kavanaugh's fine interview on OCVarsity. Zach was talking to Coach Rollinson, and he already said that there was a teachable moment, moments after that game of talking about the defense. So you know that they're hearing a lot about that at practice this week, that they have to tackle better. And offensively, they don't have any worries when they're scoring 70 points.
Eliminate the penalties and do your job.
That should about they have enough weapons, and we'll see what happens with Bosco. Are they going to continue with the double quarterback situation? It will be interesting. This could be a crossroads game maybe for what they do with their quarterback situation. Maybe those guys, will they play both of them at the same time? You think they could be on the same field at the same time? Real Mitchell and and with DJ the sophomore, there could be some interesting twists. Or is that something that Bosco would save for the CIF championship game?
I don't know. That's an intriguing question that'll be left for later because we're just worried about this week right now.
That's right.
We're getting ready for a great week of high school football games here at OCVarsity. Thanks again for hanging out with us.